So over the last week, we have learned many different ways to solve a system of equations. So on this page, we are just looking at the 3 different ways that we talked about to solve systems by hand. So the first way is called solving systems by graphing. We would like to graph systems to find their solution anytime you have 2 equations that are already in the form y equals. So if we look at this first one, I can graph this line by beginning at the y-intercept. This y-intercept is +3, so I'm going to put a dot on +3. It has a slope that's negative. Negative slopes will drop down. So we're going down 5, and then we're going to the right 3. So from my dot, we go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and to the right 1, 2, 3. I can connect my dots, and they create a line. So now if we look at the second equation, we have a y-intercept of -3. So I put a dot on -3 on the y-axis. This slope is positive. Positive slopes go up, so up 1 and to the right 3. So from my dot, up 1 over 3. Same thing other direction, 1 over 3. So now I have graphed my 2 lines, and I know that the solution is the ordered pair where the 2 lines intersect. So in this one here, the ordered pair, right 3 and down 2, lives on both lines. So that is the solution of this system of equations. They cross right 3, 1, 2, 3, and down 2. So that was the first method that we did, very easy. Second method is something called substitution. We use substitution whenever there is a letter that is by itself. So in this example, the letter by itself is the letter Y. So I circle the letter that's by itself. I put parentheses around what that letter equals. So now I write what I have. I have a -2x plus 4. Instead of this Y, I'm replacing it with what I know that Y is. So I know that Y is 3x minus 4, and then it says equals 8, so I write down equals 8. So now I solve this based on how we solved in the very first month of school. 4 times 3 is 12 with an x. 4 times -4 is a negative, or a minus 16. Then there is a -2x that's in the front, and an 8 that's in the back. So step 1, distribute the number in front of parentheses, is done. Step 2 is called combining like terms. -2x and a +12x can be put together because they're both x's on the same side of the equal sign. -2 plus 12 is 10 x's. Then I bring the rest down. -16 equals 8. To get x by itself, I solve. You always move the constant or the number first, plus 16 to both sides. So 10x equals 8 plus 16 is 24. Divide by 10, divide by 10. You can use your calculator if you need to. That would give you an x value of 2.4. So we did all that work to substitute and to end up with an x value of 2.4. So now I'm going to take that x value and figure out what the y value is. To solve for y, we use the equation that says y equals 3. Instead of x, I know that my x is a 2.4, and then it says minus 4. 3 times 2.4 minus 4 is the number 3.2. So the y value equals 3.2. So I found the x by substituting, and then I found the y by plugging it back into the y equals equation. So now we move into the bottom 2. So the next method we learned is my favorite personally. It's a lot of people's favorites. So this next method is called elimination. We use elimination when there's a number with the x, a number with the y, and then it equals some number. So in this here, it is not ready to eliminate because we don't have a letter that will cancel yet. But what we can do is we can multiply the bottoms times 2, and that will give me a 4x here and a minus 4x here. So I'm going to rewrite the first equation, 4x plus 15y equals 17. Then in the bottom one, I end up with a negative 4x plus 20y equals negative 52.
I just want to drop off a copy of my assignments if you're interested.
So then in this one here, we have x's that are going to cancel. So 4x minus 4x will cancel. That leaves me with 35y equals negative 35. And we get y by itself by dividing. So we're going to divide both sides by 35. And that leaves me with y equals negative 1. So we were able to cancel, we were able to eliminate the x's when we multiplied every single term times 2. Because I needed for the x's here, if that's a 4x, this had to be a minus 4x. So now what we keep saying, though, is that a solution is not just a number. It's an ordered pair. It's an x and it's a y. So to figure out what the x is, you pick either equation. I'm going to pick the first one. So 4x plus 15. Instead of y, I know that my y value is negative 1, and that equals 17. So then I solve 4x minus 15 equals 17. Get x by itself, add 15. The number has to move first. So that leaves me with 4x equals 32. Last step, get x by itself by dividing. 32 divided by 4 would leave me with a number 8. So the y value of this solution is negative 1, and the x value of this solution is a positive 8. So then the last thing that we learned is when we have no solution, if we were to graph that, that means that these lines would not touch. That's what no solution means. What it would look like in an equation is something like this. So if we looked at this example here, my x's cancel. 2x minus 2x, they go away. My y's cancel. Negative 4 plus 4, they go away. However, my letters do not cancel. That's a 10 plus 18 leaves you with a number. So this here is no solution because the letters canceled, but a constant would remain. A number in the back would remain. Now, infinitely many solutions means that you graph a line, and then your second line is right on top of that first line. So what would happen algebraically is this would look like this. Okay, 2x's minus 2x's, goodbye, that cancels. Negative 4 plus 4, goodbye, that cancels. 10 minus 10, goodbye, that cancels. So in order for this to be infinitely many solutions, all of the letters algebraically would cancel because it's the same line. So if you were to graph them, they would sit on the exact same line. Infinite number of solutions because every single spot on that line is a solution. So this is everything that we've learned. We learned how to solve by graphing, substitution, elimination, and then special cases.